Welcome to today's transformation dive, right here in the Earn Flow Zone. Ever scroll through social media and feel like everyone else is living in a perpetual highlight reel while your bank account is stuck on a blooper reel? Maybe you just checked your balance, and let's just say it didn't exactly spark joy. Perhaps you winced, instantly regretting that impulse purchase from earlier. Or maybe you're just tired of seeing numbers that barely budge, no matter how hard you feel like you're working. Then, you hop online, and boom, another guru flashing their newfound freedom. Another lucky entrepreneur whose business exploded. Another perfectly filtered vacation implying effortless wealth. They whisper the dangerous lie that financial freedom or any significant success is some kind of lottery win, a viral moment, or a secret hack only they know. You see the shiny finished product, the nice car, the exotic travel photos, the passive income streams, and a little voice inside asks, "Why not me? Why am I still grinding? Why is my progress measured in millimeters, not miles?" This feeling, this gnawing impatience, this sense of being perpetually behind the curve of quick wins, that, my friends, is the very first hurdle you must overcome on your journey to building anything meaningful, especially wealth. It springs from a fundamental, often painful misunderstanding of how sustainable success is actually built. Before we fully unpack this, a quick ask. If you're ready to cut through the noise and focus on real, actionable strategies for your money and mindset, hit that like button and subscribe to the Earn Flow Zone. It helps this content reach more people who need it, way more than you might think. And while you're at it, drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from, or share one small money habit win you've celebrated recently, no matter how tiny. All right. Enough preamble. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You flinch. Yep, that's the reaction when you open the banking app you've been skillfully avoiding for days. The low balance stares back, a silent accuser. Or maybe it's just the stark evidence of another impulse buy that felt so right in the moment, but now just feels like, well, regret. Later, scrolling through the carefully curated feeds of social media, you see them. The gurus, the lucky ones, the people whose lives seem to have undergone an instant, explosive transformation into wealth or success. Their picture-perfect posts whisper a dangerous lie that building something truly worthwhile, especially financial security and abundance, is a matter of speed, ease, or simply dumb luck. You see the dazzling tip of the iceberg, the luxury cars, the world travel, the proclaimed financial freedom, and that familiar pang of inadequacy hits. You wonder why you are still grinding away, why your financial numbers aren't experiencing dramatic overnight shifts, why you feel so far from being there yet. This feeling of being left behind, this impatience fueled by the illusion of quick wins, this is the inaugural and arguably most significant hurdle. It's a feeling born directly from a fundamental misunderstanding of the true architecture behind sustainable wealth, deeply honed skills, and lasting success. It is dangerously easy, almost intoxicatingly so, to fall for the highlight reel. The stark, often uncomfortable reality is that overnight success is a myth, a fairy tale told by those who have already endured the unglamorous, often grueling years, sometimes decades, of unseen, relentless effort. Think of the classic iceberg metaphor. What you see above the waterline is the dazzling tip, maybe 10% of the whole, while the vast, imposing 90% remains hidden beneath the surface. That entrepreneur whose business appears to have suddenly taken off, they very likely spent years working a demanding day job, burning the midnight oil fueled by questionable coffee, experiencing repeated failures that felt soul-crushing at the time, perhaps racking up significant debt and sacrificing nearly every weekend and social event for their vision. That investor who made a seemingly massive killing on a single stock, they probably navigated multiple market crashes, stuck rigidly to a disciplined long-term plan for years, patiently adding to their portfolio through bull markets and bear markets, through thick and thin. The myth of the quick fix, the viral moment, or the lucky break isn't merely misleading. It is actively harmful to your progress. Why? Because it breeds corrosive impatience, encourages reckless, ill-informed gambles based on hype rather than strategy, and most damagingly, it distracts you entirely from the one principle that actually works reliably across all levels of building, from starting with nothing to accumulating significant wealth. The profound, often underestimated power of delayed gratification paired with consistent patience. Here's a surprising fact. The most reliable path to wealth involves being incredibly boring and consistent over a very long time. It's the opposite of exciting. Ask yourself this: what stories or social media feeds are currently feeding your impatience and distracting you from the consistent, boring actions that actually build wealth? Try this for a week. Identify one area where you're seeking a quick win, maybe a trendy investment or a fast money scheme, and instead, focus that energy on a small, consistent, less exciting habit, like tracking every dollar spent, or automating a small savings transfer. This one habit, shifting your focus from the quick payout to consistent, patient action, can genuinely change everything for you, starting today. Okay, let's talk about something that trips almost everyone up. Why does it feel like we're constantly fighting against our own impulses when it comes to money? Why is putting off a purchase for a few months or even a few days feel like scaling Everest? Welcome to the instant gratification trap. You are wired for now. Seriously, blame your biology. Millions of years ago, when survival meant grabbing that berry or chasing that meal immediately, your brain evolved to reward speedy action. That little hit of dopamine you feel when you get something you want right now, that was your ancestors' survival mechanism kicking in. It worked great when you needed to outrun a saber-toothed tiger or find food before someone else did. But fast forward to the modern world. We've got one-click buttons, same-day delivery, and endless feeds of things designed to make you feel like you're missing out if you don't acquire them instantly. Social media likes, online shopping notifications, the allure of a new gadget or experience presented right in front of you, they all tap into that ancient wiring. They give your brain that quick little dopamine hit, reinforcing the idea that now feels good. It's like your primitive brain is trying to navigate Wall Street with a Stone Age map. Seriously, your brain is like that friend who still uses dial-up trying to stream 4K video. It's just not built for this landscape. You see something you want now. Your brain, flooded with signals that equate acquisition with a sense of well-being, screams, "Get it!" And for a fleeting moment, it does feel good. You get the package, the notification of purchase, the new item in your hands. But that fleeting pleasure comes at a steep cost. Think about it. Each time you choose the now, that $7 artisanal coffee, that new game console you barely have time to play, that slightly nicer car you can barely afford payments on. You're training your brain to prioritize temporary comfort over lasting security and freedom. You're depleting savings, accumulating debt, and actively missing opportunities for genuine long-term financial growth. Each instant purchase is a small victory for the now brain and a tiny defeat for the future you who wants to be debt-free, invested, and financially secure. Here's the surprising and frankly slightly annoying insight. The constant availability of now isn't a luxury. It's a fundamental challenge to your future prosperity. It's not just making things easy to spend. It's actively training your brain to be impatient, to crave the immediate reward, and to undervalue the delayed but much larger gain. It's like being on a diet, but living inside a bakery. The sheer, effortless availability is the problem. This constant battle against your own biology, exacerbated by the ease of modern commerce, is perhaps the single biggest hurdle most people face on their path to financial freedom. It's not about a lack of willpower. It's about understanding you're fighting an ancient, powerful instinct armed with 21st century technology. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Ask yourself honestly. How often did you choose instant comfort or pleasure today instead of doing something small, maybe transferring $10 to savings, learning a new skill for 15 minutes, or planning a future budget for your future self? Just reflect on that for a moment. What did you really gain from the instant choice, and what could you have gained by delaying? This awareness is the first crucial step to reprogramming that ancient wiring. Okay, let's dive into Section 3, where we tackle a fundamental truth about building wealth and financial stability under the Earn Flow Zone banner. So we've talked about shifting our perspective and understanding our current position. Now, let's get brutally honest about the pace of financial progress. Section 3, Money's Slow Burn. Let's get this straight. Right here at the Earn Flow Zone, building real financial security or significant wealth is almost always a slow burn, not some sudden, explosive event. You look at the headlines. You see the stories of overnight successes, the lottery winners, the lucky early crypto adopters. And it's easy to think, why isn't that me? People often underestimate just how rarely money magically appears in large, life-altering chunks for the vast majority of people. Instead, it accumulates, it grows, and the engine of that growth isn't a secret hack or a magical shortcut. It's driven by consistent effort, smart decisions stacked one upon the other, and most importantly, the incredible, often underappreciated power of time. This isn't about advocating for a life of deprivation or being a miser who clips coupons for 5 cents off toilet paper. Unless that brings you joy, no judgment. It's about deeply understanding the fundamental nature of compounding and steady accumulation. Think of it like building physical fitness. You don't go to the gym once for 10 hours and suddenly have abs of steel and superhero strength. You go consistently, 3 or 4 times a week, for months, for years. Each workout, each healthy meal seems small on its own, but the cumulative effect over time is transformative. Financial growth is exactly the same workout. Whether it's the seemingly insignificant act of saving $50 from each paycheck, consistently investing a small amount automatically every single month, or wisely reinvesting profits back into a side hustle or business. The true power comes from this relentless repetition and the passage of time, allowing those small actions to compound and gather momentum. Consider this, and this is often the surprising truth for many. Saving even just $100 a month feels almost insignificant when you start. You might think, that won't change anything. That's barely dinner out. After a year, yes, that's $1,200. Not life-changing in isolation, is it? But what if you committed to doing that consistently for 10 years? And what if that money earned even a modest return, say 5% or 7% annually? You are no longer talking about a trivial sum. You are talking about tens of thousands of dollars. Add another 10 or 20 years to that timeline, and you are talking about a substantial, potentially life-altering sum, built entirely from those insignificant $100 contributions. The surprising truth? The hardest part about building real financial security isn't finding a secret investment that triples overnight. Spoiler, those are usually scams or incredibly high risk. It's doing the small, seemingly boring, repetitive things consistently, month after month, year after year. Even when you don't feel like it, even when the progress feels glacially slow. It requires discipline and patience in a world screaming for instant gratification. This is where the mindset work we discussed earlier becomes crucial. You have to shift from expecting a jackpot to appreciating the power of the drip, drip, drip of steady accumulation. Action prompt. Take a moment right now and look at your smallest, most achievable financial goal. Maybe it's building a $500 emergency fund or paying off a small credit card balance. Now, be brutally honest with yourself. How much time will it realistically take to achieve that goal if you commit to chipping away at it consistently, week after week, month after month? Calculate it. Write it down. This simple action shifts your focus from the overwhelming end goal to the manageable, consistent process. And speaking of building those foundational blocks, let's talk about something you might have heard of, perhaps even seen a viral clip about: the marshmallow test. Now, this wasn't some bizarre dietary experiment for toddlers. It was a famous psychological study from the 1960s at Stanford. They'd sit a young child down, offer them a single marshmallow, and tell them they could eat it now. But if they could just wait a few minutes until the researcher returned, they'd get 2 marshmallows. Simple premise, profound results. The kids who could resist the immediate treat and waited for the double payoff. Follow-up studies years later showed they generally had better life outcomes, higher SAT scores, lower stress levels, even better coping mechanisms. Pretty wild, right? All from waiting a few minutes for an extra sugary snack. But here's the punchline, the surprising insight that connects this adorable experiment directly to your bank account and your future freedom. Your financial life is essentially one giant, lifelong marshmallow test. Think about it. Every single day, you're faced with mini versions of this test. Do you take the instant marshmallow? That might be the impulse purchase screaming your name from an online ad, the daily expensive coffee run, the subscription you barely use but feels convenient right now, the frivolous expense that provides fleeting pleasure. Or do you wait for the second, larger delayed marshmallow? That's the money saved, diligently invested, allowing compounding to work its magic, building towards financial security, freedom from debt, the ability to take opportunities, or simply the peace of mind that comes from having options. People often underestimate just how directly this simple childhood experiment reflects the core challenge of personal finance. It's not usually about complex algorithms or knowing the stock market inside and out from day one. It's fundamentally about your ability to delay gratification. This isn't just a theory, it's a practical skill. Your ability to say "not right now" to instant pleasure in favor of a greater future reward is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Initially, it might feel like trying to bench press a car, incredibly difficult to resist that shiny new gadget or that unnecessary takeout order when you have food at home. But each small victory, each time you choose the delayed marshmallow, you're doing a rep for your financial fitness. The cause effect is crystal clear. Delaying minor, unnecessary spending consistently frees up resources that, when directed wisely, cause significant long-term financial growth. It turns small leaks into powerful streams you can navigate. This one habit changed everything for me, acknowledging that the urge to spend impulsively is just an urge, not a command. It's a little kid inside me, wanting that single marshmallow right now. So here's your action prompt, directly inspired by the original test's core mechanism. The next time you're about to make an unnecessary purchase, especially a small one, maybe it's that extra snack at the convenience store, an app you probably don't need, or adding something extra to your online cart just because, consciously pause for 60 seconds. Just wait. Don't rationalize. Don't browse other things. Just sit with the urge for one measured minute. See if that intense desire passes, or at least lessens. You might find that the immediate appeal fades significantly when you inject a tiny bit of friction and conscious thought. Try this for a week. Implement the 60-second pause for any non-essential purchase under, say, $20. You might be surprised how many single marshmallows you don't end up taking. Here's the thing. When we talk about delayed gratification, the first image that usually pops into your head is money. Saving up for a big purchase, investing for retirement, resisting that impulse buy. It's all about the cash. But what if I told you one of the most powerful forms of delayed gratification has nothing to do with your bank account today? It's about investing in yourself, specifically through building skills and knowledge. This is where the real long-term earn flow zone gets built, brick by patient brick. Think about it. You don't become a master chef the first time you boil water. Trust me, some of my early attempts were watery. You don't become fluent in Spanish after one Duolingo lesson. And you certainly don't become a six-figure coder or a thriving business owner overnight. These transformations are the direct result of a different kind of investment. Time, effort, practice, failure, and relentless persistence. It's the delayed payoff of learning. The core concept here is understanding that the time and energy you pour into acquiring a new skill now, even when there's zero immediate financial reward, is directly building your future earning potential. It's like planting a tree. You don't get fruit tomorrow, maybe not even next year, but eventually it provides incredible value. Let's look at those examples. That beginner coder grinding away after their day job? They're not making extra cash from those small practice projects. In fact, they're probably spending money on software or courses. The ambitious builder reinvesting every dollar. They're sacrificing immediate comfort and personal income. Their reward isn't a bigger paycheck next week. It's the job offer that validates years of self-taught skill, or the scalable company that finally pays dividends down the line. People often underestimate the sheer volume of unseen, unrewarded effort that goes into building true proficiency and value in the marketplace. It's a surprising insight for many. Your future ability to earn doesn't magically appear. It grows out of the roots of your willingness to invest time and effort today without an immediate payout. This willingness, this patience in skill building is a fundamental foundation of long-term financial growth. It's a total myth that valuable skills are acquired quickly or easily. They require focused, often tedious, repetition. Think about mastering a musical instrument. Nobody picks up a guitar and shreds like a rock star instantly. Though wouldn't that be fun? It takes scales, chords, sore fingertips, terrible noises, and hours upon hours of practice before anything even sounds halfway decent. The habit? Consistency. Even when it's boring or frustrating, the cause-effect is crystal clear. Consistent, focused practice causes skill improvement, which eventually causes new opportunities and increased value. It's the ultimate delayed gratification loop. This one habit changed everything for me, shifting my perspective from "how can I make more money right now" to "what skill can I learn today that will increase my value in the future?" It completely reframes your energy and where you choose to invest it. It can be frustrating, feeling like you're spinning your wheels while putting in the work with no immediate result. But that's the test. That's the patience building. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from starting that skill today? Is it lack of time, fear of failure, or just the simple impatience for an immediate reward? Here's your action step, taken straight from the prompt's power. Identify one skill or area of knowledge that could significantly impact your earning potential. Commit to spending just 30 minutes today, taking the first step towards learning it. That could be researching courses, reading a relevant chapter, practicing a technique, or watching an instructional video. Just 30 minutes. Start building that foundation, one patient brick at a time. Okay, let's dive into Section 6, focusing on the power of small, consistent wins under the Earn Flow Zone branding. All right, we've talked about vision, about tackling mental blocks, and finding clarity. But how do you actually get there? How do you bridge the gap between the big goal and today's reality? This brings us to something that sounds incredibly simple, maybe even boring, but it's the engine of all significant progress. The power of small, consistent wins. See, patience often gets misunderstood. It's not about passively waiting for something to happen, like waiting for a lottery ticket to pay off, or your rich uncle to finally remember you in his will, if you even have one. That's just waiting. True patience, in the context of growth, financial or personal, is active. It's the disciplined, unwavering commitment to consistent effort. It's the daily, weekly, monthly habit of doing the small things that might seem insignificant in the moment, but which accumulate and compound over time. Think of it like fitness. Nobody gets six-pack abs or runs a marathon by watching motivational videos all day. As helpful as they can be, they do it by showing up, by doing one more push-up, running one more block, consistently, day after day, week after week. It's the micro actions, lifting the small weights, eating the balanced meal, going for the short jog, performed with unwavering consistency. These seemingly minor steps build unstoppable momentum. This is where the magic really happens. This is the real, non-sexy secret to wealth and success. It's showing up for the reps, even when you don't feel like it. Let's bring it back to finance. Consider someone who decides to save just $25 a week. On its own, $25 doesn't sound like much, right? Maybe a few fancy coffees, a takeout meal, or a small online purchase. But let's look at the cause effect. By deciding to save that one amount consistently, every single week, the effect starts to build. After 52 weeks in a year, that's $1,300 saved, without any investment growth, just plain old saving. Over 5 years, that's $6,500. Now introduce the power of growth, even modest growth, and over a decade or two, that small, consistent habit of setting aside $25 a week, or whatever amount you choose, starts to build significant capital. It's not about the initial size of the stone. It's about the relentless rhythm of the waves that eventually carves the cliff. Here's the truly surprising insight, the myth bust if you like. The size of the initial action is far less important than the consistency of the action. People get hung up on needing a huge amount to start investing, or needing to make massive budget cuts. While big actions can accelerate things, they are unsustainable for most. Small, consistent steps are like compound interest for your progress. They build momentum and turn into powerful habits that operate on autopilot, generating results over time. So what does this mean for you today? It means finding your $25 habit. It means identifying that small, consistent action you can commit to. The action for this section is simple, but potentially transformative, because it forces you to engage with the power of consistency. Pick one small financial habit you can commit to doing every single day for the next 7 days. Seriously, just one small thing. It could be tracking every dollar you spend, literally, just noting it down. It could be packing your lunch instead of buying it. That small act saves money daily. It could be reviewing your budget for just 5 minutes each evening. Just 5 minutes. The point isn't the magnitude of the task. It's the commitment to doing it every single day for a week. Try this for a week and see the subtle shift it creates. This one habit, consistently applied, could be the tiny spark that ignites a bigger change. Okay, so we've been building this foundation piece by piece, but there's often this sneaky belief that undermines all that consistent work. It's the myth of the big break, the idea that one day, out of the blue, everything will just magically fall into place financially. You know the fantasy, the lottery win, the unexpected inheritance from a distant relative you didn't know existed, the stock tip that skyrockets overnight, the one brilliant idea that makes you millions before lunch. People get stuck in this holding pattern, perpetually waiting for that lightning strike of luck to solve all their problems. They see it as a shortcut, an instant gratification loophole to bypass the necessary grind. But this waiting, this passive hope, is the absolute opposite of the patient, consistent action that actually creates lasting wealth and growth. Let's look at the stark contrast. Consider two people. One decides, okay, I'm tired of waiting. They commit to saving and investing a realistic $500 a month. They do this month after month, year after year, for a decade. They're not hoping for a miracle. They're executing a plan. This person builds guaranteed compounding wealth. Their money grows over time, earning more money, slowly but surely building financial security and opportunity. Now, consider the second person. They take that same amount, maybe even more, but instead of saving or investing, they buy lottery tickets every single week, perhaps playing speculative stocks based on rumors, hoping for the jackpot, the 10-bagger, the overnight fortune. This person is effectively burning money, relying on statistically improbable odds. They remain stuck in a cycle of hoping and losing, with nothing tangible to show for it at the end of the decade, except spent cash and dashed dreams. The surprising, almost counterintuitive truth is that the big break, that moment where everything seems to click, often doesn't happen instead of the consistent effort. It happens because of it. Think of it like training for a sport. You don't just suddenly become a top athlete. You train consistently for years. That consistent training builds your skill, endurance, and readiness. Then, when a big opportunity comes along, maybe a key game, a new role on the team, you are prepared to capitalize on it. It looks like a big break from the outside, but it's the culmination of countless hours of unnoticed practice. Financially, your consistent saving builds capital. Your consistent learning builds knowledge. Your consistent networking builds connections. You are building the foundation, the skills, the resources that allow you to even see and act on opportunities when they arise. Without the foundation, the opportunity passes you by, or you fumble it because you're not ready. It's not about finding the big break. It's about becoming the person who can make their own breaks. So, the crucial action here is to stop fantasizing about windfalls. Shift your energy from passive wishing to active doing. This week, identify one consistent action you can take to improve your financial situation, no matter how tiny it feels. It could be tracking expenses for one day, saving $5, skipping one impulse purchase, or reading one article about investing. Just one consistent step. Ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do this week instead of just waiting for something to happen? This one habit, the shift from passive waiting to active doing, can change everything. Okay, here is the expanded script for Section 8, based on your provided structure and requirements. Section 8. Reframing the wait. Now let's talk about something that often feels like the enemy of fun. Waiting. Or as the finance gurus like to call it, delayed gratification. For many, this just sounds like a fancy term for you can't have nice things right now, and it's painted as a period of suffering or deprivation. Like being stuck on a really slow treadmill when everyone else is zipping by on electric scooters. But what if we told you that feeling of deprivation isn't inherent to waiting at all? What if it's just a matter of perspective? The surprising truth is, you can completely reframe the wait. Instead of seeing it as missing out, view it as an active, powerful choice. Think of it like exercising a muscle, the muscle of self-control, the muscle of financial discipline, the muscle of patience. Every time you choose to delay a purchase, resist an impulse, or stick to your savings plan, you're not denying yourself. You are actively building something. You're building resilience, strengthening your financial core, and consciously choosing to prioritize your future freedom over immediate, fleeting pleasure. It's the difference between renting a life and owning your destiny. This isn't about never enjoying life today. Absolutely not. Life is meant to be lived. But it's about being strategic. It's about consciously allocating your most valuable resources, your money, your time, your energy, in a way that creates a significantly better life later. It's like deciding to cook a healthy, delicious meal from scratch instead of grabbing fast food. It takes a little more effort and patience up front, but the long-term benefits for your health and your wallet are undeniable. Plus, who doesn't feel a tiny bit smugly proud after making a killer homemade bolognese? Consider this shift. Instead of feeling deprived because you didn't buy that trendy, slightly too expensive impulse item you saw online, feel powerful. Feel empowered because you recognized the impulse, you assessed your goals, and you exercised control over your desires. That decision wasn't a loss. It was a win for your discipline account. Instead of feeling bored or restricted by consistently saving month after month, feel incredibly proud. You're not just accumulating numbers in a bank account. You are building a solid foundation of security, opportunity, and future choice for yourself and your loved ones. That feeling of pride, it's a far more valuable currency than the fleeting thrill of a new gadget. Here's the deeply surprising insight, and it's something you might not believe until you experience it. Patience, when practiced consistently and consciously reframed, shifts entirely. It stops feeling like a draining sacrifice and starts feeling like genuine self-control and profound empowerment. This fundamental shift changes your entire relationship with money and desire. It moves you from a reactive state, constantly battling urges, to a proactive state, making deliberate choices aligned with your highest vision for yourself. This one habit, consciously acknowledging the power of delaying gratification, changed everything for me. Shep 20255. Okay, we've talked about why patience is key, but let's get real. Your brain is probably screaming for now, demanding that instant hit of dopamine that comes from buying something new or seeing immediate results. So how do you actually practice patience and delayed gratification when that little voice is throwing a tantrum? You don't need superhuman willpower. Honestly, who has an endless supply of that? You need strategy. Think of it less like white-knuckling your way through temptation and more like setting up guardrails on a winding road. This is where you get to engineer your environment. It sounds fancy, but it just means setting up your world so that the good habits are easy and the bad habits are hard. Like laying out your workout clothes the night before or pre-chopping veggies for healthy meals. In finance, this looks like automating savings transfers so the money is whisked away before you even have a chance to think about spending it. Imagine your paycheck landing, and 5 minutes later, a chunk is already happily sitting in a high-yield savings account, building you wealth while you do nothing. It feels less like a sacrifice and more like a clever little financial magic trick. You can use budgeting apps or trackers not just to see where your money goes, but to create friction around spending. That moment you have to log a purchase or see it impact your budget goals makes you pause. It adds a step, a little speed bump on the road to impulse buying, forcing awareness where there used to be autopilot. Another powerful tactic? Declutter your digital temptation zone. Unsubscribe from those marketing emails that are basically professional enablers of impulse buys. You know the ones. Flash sale. 70% off everything you never knew you needed. Your inbox shouldn't be a direct pipeline to Amazon Prime. Seriously, my unsubscribed finger gets more exercise than I do sometimes. And set clear, visible goals for what you're saving or building towards. Print a picture of that down payment goal, that vacation spot, or your debt payoff tracker, and put it where you see it daily. This keeps the future reward top of mind, making the present act of patience feel less like deprivation and more like progress towards something exciting. Here's the surprising insight, the real game changer. You can engineer your environment and systems to make patience easier and impulse harder. It's not about being a monk with iron discipline. It's about being a clever architect of your own financial landscape. Set up an automatic transfer of 5% or 10% or whatever you can manage of your paycheck to a separate savings account the very day you get paid. Or Ruthlessly delete your saved payment information from online shopping sites. This means if you want to buy something, you have to get up, find your wallet, and manually type in the numbers. It's a tiny inconvenience, but it can be enough friction to break the impulse. These small structural changes make waiting or saving the default path, requiring effort to choose instant gratification instead of the other way around. It flips the script, and suddenly, patience feels less like a struggle and more like the path of least resistance you've designed for yourself. Action. It's time to build one of these guardrails. Which feels most doable for you right now? Try this today. Implement one automation or friction strategy. Will you set up that automatic savings transfer? Delete that tempting shopping app from your phone? Unsubscribe from the worst offender in your email inbox? Or maybe make your future goal picture your phone background? Ask yourself, what's stopping you from making one small change that makes patience easier? This one habit, implemented strategically, can start a cascade of financial wins. Patience for every level. Now, let's talk about a principle that often feels cliché, but is absolutely foundational, yet misunderstood. Patience. Most people think patience is only for the ultra-wealthy waiting for their investments to double over decades, or for the broke person dreaming of a future payday. But here's the truth, the surprising insight. This isn't some advanced financial strategy. It's a core muscle required at every single level of your financial journey. The principle of delayed gratification scales with your financial journey. It's always relevant, just applied to bigger numbers or more complex goals. Think about it. If you're just starting out, maybe scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck, patience isn't about waiting for a mansion. It's about patiently building that tiny emergency fund, dollar by painstaking dollar. It's about patiently acquiring skills, maybe through free online courses after a long workday, knowing that a better job isn't an overnight lottery win, but the result of consistent effort. It's the patience to delay that non-essential purchase, that new gadget, that spontaneous night out, until you have a solid foundation, a little cushion to stand on. It's like planting a seed. You don't see growth instantly, but with consistent watering, discipline, and waiting, patience, it will sprout. People often underestimate the power of small, consistent steps at this stage. They want the financial freedom now, and that impatience leads to giving up just before the sprout breaks the soil. For the person who's on the rise, seeing their income grow, perhaps finally getting ahead, patience takes on a different form. This is where lifestyle inflation becomes a massive trap. You can afford that nicer car, that bigger apartment, those fancier dinners. But patience here means delaying those instant gratifications. It means patiently sticking to a budget, patiently investing consistently month after month, even when the market is doing, well, whatever the market decides to do today. It's about understanding that true wealth isn't built on flashy spending, but on the quiet, consistent compounding over years. It's less like a sprint and more like training for a marathon. The consistent, perhaps slightly boring, miles are what build endurance, not the occasional burst of speed. This one habit, delaying lifestyle inflation, changed everything for me. It requires a different kind of patience. The patience to keep living slightly below your means even when you don't have to, because you know what you're building is worth more. And for the ambitious builder, the seasoned investor, the person already sitting on significant assets, patience is still the bedrock. It means patiently sticking to their long-term strategy through market downturns that would make less patient people panic. and sell everything at a loss. It means patiently reinvesting profits back into their business or portfolio instead of cashing out too early to fund a whim. It means understanding that significant ventures, whether a startup, a real estate development, or a major investment, take years, often many years, to mature and pay off. It requires the patience to navigate setbacks, pivot when necessary, and wait for the harvest. The surprising insight? A beginner patiently saving their first $1,000 uses the same core muscle, the ability to delay immediate reward for a future benefit, as the investor patiently holding through market volatility that sees their portfolio temporarily drop by $100,000. The scale is different, but the underlying discipline is identical. Impatience at any level leads to short-sighted decisions that derail long-term progress. It's the cause of splurging away your first small savings or selling your best investments at the worst time. Based on your current financial situation, identify one specific goal that absolutely requires patience and consistency from you right now. What is it? What immediate gratification do you need to delay for that goal? Ask yourself, what's stopping you from committing to the patient path? Okay, let's look at the payoff. After all this talk about patience, discipline, and resisting the urge for instant gratification, what are you actually building? It's easy to feel like you're just saying no a lot. No to the impulse buy, no to the unnecessary upgrade, no to chasing fleeting trends. But that perspective misses the entire point. You're not just saying no to something today. You're saying a resounding yes to something infinitely better tomorrow. Think of it like building a house. Every brick laid, every foundation poured, every nail hammered is a patient, deliberate act. In the moment, it might feel slow, maybe even tedious. You see other people living in their rented apartments, or maybe impulsively built shacks, enjoying instant shelter. But your patient effort is constructing something solid, something resilient, something that will provide true security and value for decades. So, what does practicing delayed gratification actually build in the earn flow zone? It builds options. Financial patience creates pathways you wouldn't otherwise have. It builds security, providing a buffer against life's inevitable curveballs. Because trust us, they will come, usually when you least expect them. It builds freedom. The freedom to make choices not dictated by necessity or debt, but by your desires and goals. It builds the ability to handle unexpected challenges without getting completely derailed or having to compromise your future just to survive today. And yes, it builds wealth, true wealth, the kind that gives you choices and leverage later in life. Here's a perspective shift. When you resist the urge to splurge today, you're not depriving yourself. You are funding your future freedom. You are literally transferring potential pleasure from a fleeting, immediate experience into a powerful reserve that will serve you endlessly in the years to come. It's not about having less now. It's about having more when it genuinely counts and having it on your own terms. Imagine yourself 5, 10, maybe even 20 years from now. Close your eyes for a moment and truly envision that future self. What kind of financial security do you want that version of you to have? What level of freedom? Do you want them stressed about bills or relaxed about possibilities? Do you want them trapped by circumstance or empowered by choice? That future self, that person living with options and security, absolutely depends on the small, patient, often unseen decisions you start making consistently today. Every dollar you mindfully save instead of thoughtlessly spending, every skill you patiently learn and develop over time, every consistent investment you make, no matter how small it seems right now, is a powerful vote for that future you. Here's the surprising, almost counterintuitive insight. The cumulative positive effect of patience applied consistently over a long period is almost impossible for our brains to fully grasp in the immediate moment. We're hardwired for instant rewards. Our ancient brains scream, "Get it now," because that's what ensured survival thousands of years ago. But in the modern financial world, that instinct is often a trap. The power of compounding, whether it's compound interest on investments, or the compounding effect of learning a little bit each day, or the compounding growth of your savings buffer, is exponentially more powerful, more life-changing than chasing fleeting instant rewards. It's the difference between eating a single candy bar versus planting a fruit tree. One is gone in seconds. The other feeds you for years. This is where visualization becomes a crucial tool. It bridges that gap between the abstract concept of future freedom and the concrete actions you need to take today. It makes the payoff feel real, tangible, and worth the discipline. Take 5 minutes right now to close your eyes and vividly visualize your financial situation 10 years from now, if you consistently practiced patience and delayed gratification starting today. See the choices you have, feel the security, experience the freedom. Let that vision fuel your present actions. So let's talk about something that sounds simple, maybe even boring, but is arguably the most powerful principle in building the life you actually want, especially financially. It's called the power of delayed gratification, but let's reframe it as the real cost of now. We live in a world designed for instant everything. Instant streaming, instant food delivery, instant likes. Our brains are wired for immediate rewards. That rush feels good, right? We're trained to chase the now because it offers that immediate hit of pleasure or comfort. But what's the real cost of always choosing now over later? The core principle that separates those who build lasting wealth and freedom from those who stay stuck is incredibly simple. Real, sustainable wealth and freedom are built through consistent, patient effort and the conscious decision to delay gratification for a greater future reward. Think of it like training for a marathon versus eating a whole pizza. The pizza is amazing. Now, instant satisfaction. The marathon training is tough, requires daily discipline, saying no to things now for a distant goal. But which one builds real endurance, real capability, real lasting reward? It's not glamorous, it's not fast, but it is incredibly effective. What happens if you ignore this lesson? Choosing the pizza over the training, the now over the later, every single time. You stay on the financial hamster wheel. You live paycheck to paycheck, always chasing the next high, the next purchase, the next trend. It's like trying to build a sturdy house by just stacking dominoes. Easy to do now, but one tiny nudge and it all collapses. You build debt instead of assets, constantly borrowing from your future self just to satisfy your present desires. You remain vulnerable to unexpected events because every dollar is already spoken for, often by yesterday's choices. And you miss out on the incredible, almost magical power of time working in your favor. the compounding effect. This is a huge myth bust for many. You don't need millions to make compounding work. Small, consistent savings started early are exponentially more powerful than large amounts started late. It's not about hitting the lottery. It's about letting time do the heavy lifting with your conscious choices. Ultimately, you become a slave to now, sacrificing your future self for temporary comfort. And let's be honest, years from now, you'll look back and regret not starting sooner, not being more consistent. Nobody lies on their deathbed wishing they'd bought more impulse buys. They wish they'd had more freedom, more security, more choice, things built by delaying gratification. This isn't just theory. It's the fundamental behavior that separates those who build lasting wealth and security from those who struggle. The good news? You can start practicing it right now. It doesn't require a big income or special knowledge. It requires a decision and consistent action, no matter how small. Okay, let's make this tangible. Here's a prompt for action, and frankly, this one habit changed everything for me when I started consciously applying it. Your very next step, right now, today. Identify one thing you were planning to spend money on today that is not absolutely essential for survival or income. That spontaneous lunch out? That gadget you saw online? That extra something at the grocery store that looked tasty but wasn't on the list? Consciously decide not to buy it. Now here's the critical part. Transfer that exact amount of money to a separate savings account. Seriously, do it. Even if it's only $5. Feel the power of choosing your future self over the immediate impulse. This small act of delayed gratification is the first vital brick in the foundation of your earn flow zone. Do this one thing today. Don't overthink it. Just choose future you.